Nilqakom għarawa podcast tiegħi, l-mistiden tagħna llum huwa Eduardo Meilak. Eduardo ilu jistudja l-fenomenu għal dal-aħħar 50 sena u ġi jaqsam il-ħsibijiet dwar dan il-fenomenu stramp.
Perhaps we need some outside universal threat to make us recognize this common bound. I occasionally think how quickly our differences worldwide would vanish if we were facing an alien threat from outside this world.
Grazzi tal-li rqajt l-istedina tiegħi. Il-mistiden tagħna llum huwa Eduardo Meilak. Din l-intervista ħatkun bl-Ingliż biex ikunu jistgħu jifhmuna aħjar.
U iktar nies.
Eżatt. Eduardo, can you tell us about yourself?
I'm Eduardo Meilak. Just a little introduction to who I am. I'm 69 years old, going on to 70. The main topic of today is the light touch of on ufology. A little introduction also my background. I'm a technically minded person. My study were all on sciences. I have a certificate in astronomy and one in astrophysics, in microelectronics, computer science, and various technical certificates. Due to my interest in science, I'm in a better position to explain certain phenomena. When I say phenomena, I mean celestial phenomena. Now, the recurring topic in ufology in the last few years is the increment of UFO sightings around the world. Now, not all the UFO sightings are UFO. I mean, certain phenomena are natural, certain phenomena are pareidolia. Pareidolia means you associate a shape to something which is familiar to you.
To you, yes.
I mean, like, for instance, you see a cloud and you see a face. It doesn't mean there is a face there, but what you see, it's got the shape of a face.
Of a face.
And that's its pareidolia.
Like when they post the pyramids on Mars, it's pareidolia, because the edges are not straight.
Exactly.
But the human mind produces...
It's a computer-generated image put into a film or a photograph, which is fake, and it's simply there to fool people. Now, if you make a photographic test, if you take an audio and a photographic engineer, they can actually find out if the photo or the film is fake or not by comparing the pixel size. It's a very complicated process, but it's done by professional people, and from there you can detect whether what you're seeing it's real or not.
Eduardo, can you please tell us your practical experience on the phenomenon?
Now, I started when I was 7 years old. In the year 1960, I started seeing lights in the sky. Now, some of them were natural, some of them were meteorites, some of them were falling stars, but some of them were early satellites. But what I was seeing pairs and sometimes 3 different lights together flying side by side. Now, in the year 1960, there were not much satellites.
Only a few,
So,
Russian and Americans.
You're not going to have 2 satellites, 3 satellites flying side by side. Definitely, they were not satellites. They were going too slow to be a meteorite, too slow to be a falling star, and the intensity of the light was practically stable. So the reflection on the sun, on them, or their emitting own light was the same, at least in those days,
so,
what I saw.
So the movement wasn't just straight?
The movement I saw in those cases were straight, but slow. Very slow, even for a satellite. Now a satellite has got a steady velocity to keep it in orbit, and they're quite fast. But what I saw, it was much slower, and it wasn't far out in space. It was pretty near Earth. Obviously, I mean, I was small, I cannot tell you exactly the distance because I had no point of reference, but I presume they were pretty close to ground zero, to Earth. And that was when I was 7 years old. From then onwards, I always saw something in the sky. And, you know, this brought me to realize that the universe was much bigger than what we were taught at school. And that I always was aware that we were never alone. We are never alone. There are many more other civilizations living around us that we don't know of, but they know about us. Now,
I know you traveled a lot, and you have seen them everywhere or just in certain places?
Well, I saw them in Africa, I saw them in Italy, I saw them in Malta. I mean,
so everywhere. The phenomenon is constant.
The phenomenon is worldwide. You have to be lucky to be present, and not only present, to actually see them, because sometimes they're on your head and you don't see them.
I used to think that they show themselves to certain people, so they, how you say, spark curiosity to explore the phenomenon.
You know, their technology is millions of years ahead of ours. They can play about with physics and mathematics in a way that we cannot even imagine. They have the possibility of reveal themselves to certain people and not to others, even if the people looking at them are more than one. I mean, one or two may see them, and some other people in the same group cannot see them. That is, they can control this. I mean, we have no technology that does that yet. It was 69, 70. I remember seeing in the sky, it was about 10 o'clock in the evening. Imagine a flame of a candle.
Mm-hmm.
But instead of being vertical, it was horizontal, moving silent. It was very, very close to us. Instead of having the same colors of the flame, it was like that. The shape of the flame, yes. That means one side was elongated towards the back. Now the colors were, the nucleus was bluish violet, but light, a light violet. Then it...
Like magenta?
Lighter than that. And then going on to green, and the outer part was yellowish. And it was moving steadily, very slow in the sky. We were a group of about 10 people, and we all saw it. Now, you might ask, who are these people? And from where do they come? Well, the people can be a number of different races, for the simple reason that we have millions of galaxies, and in every galaxy we have thousands of millions of planets.
Stars.
Now, they might be inhabited, or they be uninhabited. Now, the races that are catalogued by the NASA presently, it's about 68 different races. Now, if you enter in the Free Information Act, which has been recently disclosed, there are about 33,000 pages of documents that were highly classified from the year 1940 to the year 2005. Most of them were declassified. They were highly top secret, but they've been partly unclassified. Now you can enter in the internet and you can read them. It's quite a lot, but it shows you the tip of the iceberg.
Tip of the iceberg, yes. There's a lot of stuff.
Most of the things are hidden, but what they are disclosing can lead us to make our own conclusion and make us do our own research.
But they only, at the moment, they are investigating from 2000, I think, or 2001 till today. So they have 540 incidents that they don't know what they are. Imagine all those years that they haven't studied yet, like Roswell, Trinity Site.
They all have.
Missouri.
They all have. They all have the radar recording. They all have the voice recording. They all have the
imagery and the materials, exotic
they
materials.
Have the material. They have the all the maps,
fiber optics.
But those are all kept silent, because, for instance, if you take the Americans, their main purpose is to acquire new technology and to put it first, not for the well-being of the people. No, it's for the advancement in military weapons.
Yeah.
So the first thing they do is just think military. Then eventually pass it on to the
Unfortunately.
Unfortunately, that's how all the government, not only Americans, all the governments are thinking.
The war in Afghanistan. First they tried to enter the Russians. And then the Russians lost. They didn't find what they were looking for. Then in 2000, then the Americans
then America went in.
And they spent a decade fighting for nothing. 2016 they found something.
Yes.
You know about that one?
Yes. It was a group of 8 Marines that entered a cave, and they reported of seeing an unusual craft. The name was Vimana. But all those 8 Marines died. And that's the only thing we know. We don't know the cause, we don't know anything. We don't know if that spacecraft has been taken or not. I don't know. But those 8 Marines reported, they had the chance to report what they were seeing, but they died. I don't know, the cause of that can be radiation, the cause of that can be nuclear radiation, can be very high magnetic fields that can cause disrupt in our heart cardiac movement. I don't know. I mean, that's what we can assume.
They said it was about 5,000 years and it was still working.
Yes. It's
so they have their crafts have infinite energy.
I'll give you another little example. Around our atmosphere, there is a satellite, which is not man-made.
A black knight.
It's called the black satellite. Now, that thing has been going around our head for 13,500 years. Now, 30,500 years, there was no civilization able to put something. That's a simple reconnaissance satellite that keeps on recording what our civilization is doing and pass it on to somebody else. Now, don't tell me who that somebody else is, but it's them.
I heard another theory. I heard that maybe the humans at the time wanted to keep a record somewhere. So they built this thing and put it around the orbit, because the only place that couldn't be destroyed or lost is in our orbit, because if you have cataclysm, the record would be lost, and in meteor impact it would be lost, or the changing of the land, it will be also lost. So
it could be true that the black night, that's how it's called, is a residue of past civilization living on Earth, but I doubt, because the thing is still working, so we cannot say much as yet. Maybe the military knows a bit more. I can't tell you.
There are many photos of it from
I know. Yes.
From a lot of points of view.
It's got an unusual orbit as well.
Yes, from pole to pole.
Exactly.
And if you see Nikola Tesla, he thought that the poles are like, how you say, to connect energy from one pole to another, wireless.
Now remember, both poles, North Pole and South Pole, are no flying zone. If you take any aviation map, all the flight paths do not cross the North Pole nor the South Pole. So there is a reason to that.
Interesting. Didn't know that. This is new for me. I didn't know that they couldn't traverse from the poles.
They can only do it a bit up this polar circle. The northern hemisphere and the southern hemisphere. Over that, you need special permission to traverse those regions.
And about ancient civilizations, what do you think?
About?
Ancient civilizations. Do you think they were in contact too?
Yes. Ancient civilizations were in contact, and they were actually living with them.
I saw the Thule papyrus on the internet. It shows a craft. So that's why I asked you. The Thule papyrus, you know what it is?
Yes, I know. But the same thing happened with the Maya, with the Incas, with the Aztec, with the Sumerian, with the Egyptian.
Even here.
Even here.
I showed you
we don't know much about Malta, but if you take our ancient temples, they even date further back than the Stonehenge in UK.
I think there is a correlation with the temples. I think they were all built at the same time. That's my opinion only.
No, the one on Malta is much older than the Stonehenge in England.
When you see like the car tracks, they're not only in Malta. There's in Göbekli Temple in Turkey also car tracks. Mm-hmm. So if Göbekli Temple is 12,000 years old, then comparison to how it's built with the Maltese temple, I think they're the same.
Yeah, but chronologically, practically the same era. We don't know much about the car track. The main reason, we don't know it yet. We have the evidence, yes, because we can take pictures of them, but we don't know the actual purpose of them being built. The same thing is, if you take, nowadays there have been a lot of discoveries of ancient cities underneath the sea. That's been found in Bermuda, has been found in the Mediterranean.
In the Indian.
In India, and especially the one next to Japan.
I saw that one, yes. It's squared. And they thought it was natural, but it cannot.
Exactly. That is not natural. I mean, there are certain photos you can clearly see that it's human built. I don't know who that human was, but they are not natural occurring structure. When you see exactly 90 degrees angles and the surface is completely smooth. And you have steps, and you have gates, and you have roads. Doesn't make it. Yes. I mean, with a bit of sense, you can detect that it's not natural, a natural formation.
So, do you think they're from another dimension?
Yes, I mean, we live in a multiverse cosmos. Now, the cosmos is made of different universes, and those are, we call them parallel universes. We have no means of detecting them directly, but indirectly we can. I mean, certain medium can get in touch with multiverse being. When we speak of parallel universes, we have to take in consideration portals. Portals are simply doors which enables incoming and outgoing traffic from different parallel universes. We don't have the technology to open a portal or create a portal or even entering a portal. As far as I know, none of us ever had the chance to enter or come out from a portal. But in spite of this, we see crafts that suddenly appear in the sky or they disappear in the sky through these portals, which are a means of trespassing different multiverses.
I interviewed a witness that saw something like he told me, the way he explained it to me, it was like a popcorn. And from that one, from when it expanded, 3 things came out of it. That's what he told me. So it's some kind of portal, I think.
Yes, okay. And there are cases that people see something of energy in the sky which fluctuates. That doesn't mean they are actual spacecrafts in different grades of energy. There might be simply plasma balls, but plasma balls normally come from a spark. Now sparks are created by thunderstorm. So you're not going to see a plasma ball in clear sky in the middle of summer. That's definitely not a plasma ball. That's something else. Now I mentioned about energy. Now this alien civilization have a very high technology which enables them to play about with light and frequency the same in the same way we play with plasticine or clay. They can manipulate the frequency, creating their spacecraft to vary in the molecular formation. That is, the vibration of every atom making their own spacecraft can be changed in frequency. By changing frequency, they can either make their own spacecraft disappear or appear.
In 2009, I saw something coming out of the water. It was like an orb, translucent.
Mm-hmm.
It went out vertical, without water dripping from it. It's like it sliced out of the water. And then it stopped. And if I had blinked, I would have lost it. It lightened up the skies and
that was
disappeared.
During the night?
Yes.
Okay, well, definitely that was a craft working on anti-gravity. And the reason why I didn't see any water falling is simply because their anti-gravity power that propels this craft is caused by electromagnetic fields. Now they have a very high electromagnetic fields which repels not only water but even the gravity effect, which is also from an electromagnetic phenomena.
Do you think they can go through different things? Because the way I saw it, it's like it sliced out of the water without...
They can actually, well, entering and coming out from the water is not a big deal. They can be that. In certain cases, they can even actually fly through a mountain or enter a volcano and come out from the volcano by simply changing their status, the material status. They can get into energy, into an energy level, which disrupt all the molecular formation of the craft. That allows them to pass through any material. That means practically you can actually walk into a wall and come out from the other side, if you can do it.
That's what...
Roughly, that's how it is.
So it's feasible
Yes,
for their own technology.
There are many different videos taken of spaceship entering and coming out from a volcano around the world, especially in Mexico and Southern America.
And
in Etna, Mount Etna as well.
They saw in Etna?
Yes, they saw it, yes.
Etna is close.
Yeah. In fact, over there was the most famous Italian contactist called Eugenio Siracusa. He was contacted by human being that got him into meeting them by telepathy after an ordeal, in the sense that he was prepared for this meeting, and he was told to meet them in a small valley called La Valle del Bove, which is in the Etna volcano. And he went there and he met them. He met them several times, and he was actually given directive to pass on to the politician of that time. This goes back to from 50 years up to the day he died. He died in 2000 and I believe 2014.
So recently, not?
It's recent. It's recent. And this can be found on the internet. He wrote many books. He's got a lot of documents of what he was told to say, and these are open. Public. You can actually enter and see them. I believe they are even in English. In English language, they can be found. The name is Eugenio Siracusa.
And also, this phenomenon always appears close to the water. We're surrounded with water, even Sicily. And there's a village in Sicily that they had some trouble with the phenomenon, terribile.
The electromagnetic effect on appliances.
And people getting fried.
Okay, I mean...
Do you think there... Because I talked to she told me it could be a military procedure, like a test.
Look, the effect is certainly caused by electromagnetic fields. Now, they can either be natural, coming from our own earth core, and can be made by a human being.
So it's not
human being like us. I mean,
it's not something that we can't achieve. Something.
No. It's something we achieved. The phenomenon is called HAARP. HAARP. This is a system used by the military to control the weather around the world. They can actually create hurricanes. They can create thunderstorms. They can create water, or the opposite. whatever we do, it boils down to military power. This technology exists. They have it, both the Russian and the Americans.
And have you heard about the hawn effect on people that have encounters with the phenomenon?
Well, it can get you. It definitely affects your nervous system to different degrees. The more the intensity, the more you feel it on your nervous system. It can blink you out.
Yes, I heard that people get sick.
You can get sick. You can lose your senses.
But only for a short time.
Yes. It's only for a short time.
So it's a weapon.
No, it's a weapon, because if you extend the exposure, I mean the time exposure, obviously you're going to affect people.
So
it's the same system with the 5G. The technology we now use in cellular phones, they are using 5G, but people don't know that with the transmission of 5G frequency, you can input certain crypted message that affect your brain. In a few words, people can induce you to kill somebody in front of you, even if you don't know it. You kill him and you are not aware that you have killed him. But this technology exists today.
Taħseb li l-fenomenu huwa trickster jew le?
Well, you have to take every single case on its own. Normally, our mind plays tricks on us, so we have to distinguish and discern what we actually see. Because you might see something, to you it gives you an impression, whilst in reality it's a totally different thing. Now, if you are referring to the extraterrestrial phenomena, those people can induce in your brain what they want you to know. I mean, they can influence your brain and put into you some knowledge which you didn't have before, but they can induce it into your brain. They can actually, it's like switching on and off a normal switch. They can induce you certain knowledge, certain state of mind, certain doings. They can actually manipulate you. But normally, the people who can do this are, let's call it kind-hearted, the good people. They don't mess about with this, unless the cause it's for the good. It's a good cause. For the simple reason is that every single human being has got self-freedom, and they don't interfere with the self-freedom. That's why we see them, but they don't interfere with our doing, unless we do something very, very silly for them to interfere. The cause of this, the cause and the reason why is very simple. Why do we start seeing UFOs from 1944 onwards? Because at the end of the Second World War, the United States launched 2 atomic bombs, one on Hiroshima and the other one on Nagasaki. And those created an impact in our solar system. From then onwards, we started being checked, because it's not just a matter of exploding a nuclear bomb. We don't know the after effect. We play about with nuclear power, but we don't really know what it is.
Do you think it can disturb theirs and our reality?
It can disturb our solar system and whatever is surrounding us. Just imagine if we explode a very big atomic bomb, it can actually cause the Earth to go off orbit. It can either go one side or go on the other side. Just imagine this happened. Once it happened, automatically the balance in our solar system is disrupted. And you have a very, very big problem, which can influence other solar systems nearby in the sense of a few light years away. But we can still influence. That's why we are checked. That's why every single atomic facility in the world is monitored by UFOs. Every single one, either if it's in England, in France, in Italy, in the United States, in Russia.
Dijon.
And these are all kept under tight scrutiny.
The story of the Robert Salas on the
exactly.
missiles.
That was a show of power.
It's like they toyed with our.
That is to warn us that whatever stupidity we do, they can control it.
I thank you very much for this interview and hope to see you again.
Definitely. My pleasure.
Thank you, Eduardo.
You're welcome.
A Las Vegas businessman is plopping down $1 million to find out if there is evidence of an afterlife. Space entrepreneur Robert Bigelow has announced the creation of a new institute that is devoted to research into whether human consciousness survives physical death. He gave his first and only on-camera interview to the I-Team's George Knapp.
This is a life-size, full-scale mock-up.
Bigelow Aerospace's sprawling plant is idle for now, shut down as non-essential during the early weeks of the COVID pandemic. But owner and founder Robert Bigelow hopes that his plans to build inflatable habitats for use in future space stations could be revived. In the meantime, Bigelow is pursuing his twin passions, what he calls the two holy grail questions of human existence. Are we alone in the universe, and what happens to us when we die? He decided at a young age to make enough money so he could go after the answers.
And then I committed when I was about 12 years old to really get into this someday. When I grew up, and if I had money, and trying to figure a way how to make money in order to commune with other people, maybe create some kind of groups or whatever to help me explore.
Bigelow has been funding UFO research for more than 30 years and has likely spent more on that mystery than any person in history, including his purchase of a paranormal hotspot in Utah known as Skinwalker Ranch. He admits his interest in the afterlife is in part motivated by heartbreaking losses in his own life: his father, son, grandson, and more recently his wife Diane. Through the use of mediums, Bigelow said he was able to get some level of assurance that something in us survives physical death.